Hey guys, it's Julian, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how to make a new modern Italo disco house in the style of Palms Trax, DJ Seinfeld. You guys know the sound and you've been requesting it. As usual, you can get the full project files, samples, MIDI presets. Everything from this video is available on my website for just $5 at the top of the description. Make sure to go pick that up, and yeah, let's dive in. Alright, so we're on 126 BPM and already, a bit faster than like the more old school, like classic Italo tracks, a little bit more akin to like modern, faster house. And the first sound here is this kick. Now the idea behind this kick is that it is the fullness and the fatness and the low end of a modern kick with the click, or of a modern house kick I should say, with the click and kind of punch of a classic 80s Lindrum or like 707 style kick. And the thing here is that if you just use like the Lindrum or the 707 kick or something like that, it'll give you that nice like that proper click, like you hear it in this kick. But the problem is that it doesn't really have the low end like a modern kick. And then if you try to use a more modern house kick, then you don't get that classic sound and it kind of throws it off. So the solution to that is essentially this. I layered together a modern, fat, full sounding house kick with that classic mid-range and high-end from the Lindrum kick that you've always heard in these style of tracks. And that's how you get this style of kick. Because you can see, like, if I take one of these kicks, like, they all have that good low end, but they just don't have that proper, like you want. So that's where the Lindrum kick comes in. So I've got that, and then I just exported that as that. And then I've got a little bit of a high-end boost on there as well, just to bring out that click some more. Then we have the bass line. And this bass is playing the chord progression. So if you notice, like the other melodic elements in this track don't really follow the chord progression. Like they're kind of just doing their own thing. This is the one element that's gonna really clearly define that chord progression. And the key to this is that you write the chord progression and then the bass line around that. And then also just making sure that it's mostly the root notes, right? Like, and the progression here is just B minor, F sharp minor, G major, A major, and then goes right back up to the B minor. And then all these extra bouncy notes here, like these things, like all that kind of stuff, those are just going to be notes inside of the B minor scale. So like whichever root note you got, basically. And then really what it comes down to is just knowing where to put those in and kind of creating like a nice groove, like that dum 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 dum, that kind of a rhythm. For the sound, this one is made using analog. So we've got a square wave here, which you can see we've got the pulse width up, and I also have an LFO moving that pulse width. So there's without that. And then with it you can hear. Kind of gives it more of that like detuned, sort of like uneasy feel. And then those two are going into a low pass filter, which has an envelope on it. And the amp envelope is also set in the same way. And then we just have a bit of unison. And then outside of the synth, I have some chorus to kind of spread the sound out and make it a bit fatter. But then we also have a utility here, which you can see I've got the bass mono turned on. So here's without that. And then with it you can hear the low end's just a lot fatter with it, because if you have your low end in stereo, like with the chorus here, it can just get it just kind of doesn't have that same level of like fatness and like punch to it, because in order for a sound to be punchy and full like that, it needs to be mono. But then the mids and highs do sound good with that. So we're just taking the utility, converting the bass to mono. And then we just have a compressor side chaining this to the kick. Then we have the snare. And so the snare is pretty simple. Now, I think the main thing here is just getting a good sample going into it, right? Like, Yeah, that's already just like a nice, fat, hard-hitting snare that already has that vibe to it. So we're not going to then have to go and add like a bunch of compression and saturation and stuff and try to fix it, because it's just a good sound already that already has that big, like punchy 80s snare feel. And then we're just adding a bit of short reverb and some EQ on top of it. And the key to the reverb is just going to be making it short. A lot of people think it's like gated reverb or it's all this. And you could do that, but it's really not that in most tracks. I find in most tracks, it's just like the short reverb that they're putting on everything. So here's without this. And then with it, you can hear. And the EQ just cuts out the low end, boosts the highs a little bit. And yeah, then we have this drum machine hi-hat and the tambourine, which are layered together. You can hear like we get the nice punch with this one. And then the high end from the tambourine. You can hear those just cutting through the mix. Then we also have like all these little background percussions. So you can hear the shakers. But then these sounds, the bell, this extra drum machine hi-hat, and this clap, they all kind of talk to each other, right? Like, it's not just about having the percussions in there, but it's about where they play and, like, how you get that. Or even here. So that's how you want to think about those, like writing the grooves to fit together rather than just having like a few percussion sounds playing at the same time. Then we have the lead. So this lead might sound kind of crazy. If you look though, it's all just in the B minor scale, right? Like we're just using B, so the root note, A, which is the minor 7th, there's another B, this is our 9th, our 3rd, minor 3rd I should say, the 4th, 5th, and just really playing with that like kind of dreamy feel that you get from going from the root note up to the minor 7th. And over here going down. And even over here like that. Going from the 5th to the minor 7th to the 9th. Like you can hear that, just that movement alone is very beautiful. And then going up to the minor 3rd right after sort of resolves it. Now, for the sound on this one, it's made using analog. So, this is actually a pretty simple synth. Right now, the main thing with a synth like this is just not going too crazy and adding too many, like, extra filters and, like, different effects and stuff like that. Like, just letting the waveform shine. What we've got is we've got a square wave, which has the pulse width turned up, and there's an LFO on that. And then I also have a saw wave here. And then what's happening is we just have the amp envelope set like that, just nice and punchy. And then some unison. And that's it for inside the synth. Again, I'm not worrying about the filter. I'm not going to add like a whole bunch of extra stuff. You just want to get like this nice sounding saw wave and pulse wave together and let that shine. And then we just have a bit of chorus on there, a bit of echo as well. So those are giving it some stereo width. And then we have this EQ8 here, which is just cutting out the lows, boosting the highs. And then finally, just a compressor side chaining this to the kick. And then the last layer down here is the piano. Which if you hear that with the bass line, you can hear how that fits. So for the MIDI here, it's pretty straightforward. You'll notice it's just really walking down the scale. Like we just go 5th, 4th, minor 3rd, root note. It's very almost like pentatonic, right? But it just gives you that like repetitive, like very Italo style kind of thing. And the idea is that this is going to drone on with the same melody while the bass line and the chord progression are changing. So yeah, and then for the sound on this one, it's just a piano. It's the simplest piano. This is one of the Ableton piano presets. But yeah, we just got this on there. Like, the thing about this one is, you just want it to be like a more chill, like piano or kind of deeper synth sound like this. Because obviously we don't want it to get in the way of that lead. We want it to complement the lead, not fight with it. Like, this fits really nicely with that, where it's adding some nice musical contrast, as you can hear. But you can still hear each layer completely separate on their own, and that's how you need it to be. So that really just comes down to choosing a sound that's going to fit better with that, and also understanding what makes that work. Like, the lead is just a very full sounding saw wave and pulse wave, so maybe a more chill piano or something underneath that. Then we just have a bit of chorus, a bit of echo doing dotted quarter notes, some drum bus to make this a bit fatter. I've got it being sidechanged to the kick. And then finally, just a high pass filter to cut out the low ones so this doesn't mess with the bass line. And yeah, so that's gonna be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe, and let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get the full project file, samples, MIDI, presets, everything like that from this video is available right in the top of the description, on my website, and on my Bandcamp. Thank you so much to everybody who goes to support this. Really helps keep me going. And yeah, thanks so much, everyone, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.